Sometimes it happens that in trading we experience one or more things which are occurring repeatedly. What's interesting about this is that it always has a similar scenario, and sadly, it very often ends up bad for our account and our emotional state. This kind of behavior pattern is something which we call negative spiraling. The thing typical of negative spiraling is that there is one thing at the beginning which has subsequent consequences, and this thing is something that we call a trigger. Let me demonstrate how spiraling works in the following example. Imagine this scenario. You have been suffering from revenge trading. You would always try to wait for the perfect entry setup, but then you couldn't help yourself and you would just jump into that trade earlier. Basically, you would just react impulsively at that moment and place trades earlier than you were supposed to, so with the worst price. You would also set too high stop loss, which would be hit later on. After getting out of this trade, you would see how the trade reverted and how it is heading exactly in the same direction as you predicted before. However, this time you wouldn't be in it. Your expectation was, however, that the trade will go in this direction, that you will be in that trade, and in the end, it will, of course, turn out as a winner. But now you got stop loss hit and you are out. How would you feel? Most likely frustrated, and perhaps you could start to think about getting back and opening another trade because your first idea about the direction was right, and so you are already calculating in your head what could have been your profit. So you jump back, but unfortunately, this time it wasn't according to your plan and your stop loss was hit again. You already know that you did something wrong, and so you want to make up for it. You would open another trade to cover the loss and then start chasing the trades to fix the situation. And here we go. Negative spiraling. This idea of recovering from losses or a need to prove oneself, but I was right, gets you into that vicious cycle of getting into positions with slightly off or totally off entry setups. And at the end of the day, you would find that you opened 8 unnecessary trades today. You just experienced negative spiraling. Negative spiraling always has some trigger, something that is at the beginning and what turns on those bad habits. And if you want to avoid that behavior and prevent your trading from such a horrific scenario, then 1 to 3 intervention is a method which can help you with it. 1 to 3 intervention is called 1 to 3 as it is based on 3 basic steps. Step number 1 is finding the trigger. If you think about the example mentioned above, the trigger was that you weren't able to wait for the correct entry and then got stop loss. Step number 2 is being aware of our trigger in real time, which means, for example, in the case above, you would realize you just weren't waiting for the right entry, jumped into the trade earlier, and now you got a stop loss, so you'd be triggered. And now, step 3. At the moment you have realized that you are getting triggered, what should be the ideal intervention? It's hard to find something that fits everyone. However, there is one universal solution and no one has come up with anything better so far, which is to close the platform, because then you have 100% chance to not take any unnecessary trades. And if you think about it, 1 to 3 intervention is actually connected to our previous chapters. As we can see, we need all those components as awareness and then also the ability to go into the adult ego state. To put it simply, it is necessary to still ask ourselves questions such as, am I triggered? How would I react if I'd be in an adult ego state. When we are dealing with the negative spelling, it's important to remember that the trigger always leads to a similar result. So every time I get triggered, it ends up pretty much the same. And therefore, it is necessary to break this cycle. If you know what your trigger is and you are able to recognize it in a real time, then you should also think about the consequences of your behavior. Because from the experience, we often already know how this is probably going to end up. Remember that you always have the opportunity to get away from the platform when your current state is not on point.